Welcome back to part 2 with the mega brand builder, Chris Chambers himself. So Chris, we've seen a lot of media companies, a lot of brands get it wrong when it comes down to commercials, how they handle the backlash of the media, whatever, from Dove to, which is Unilever, to Starbucks, and United Airlines when they drag that man off the plane and everything. Like, what kind of advice do you give your clients when an error like that is made, or do you get into crisis management?
I mean, we don't. Crisis management is such a specialty that we don't handle those kind of crises to that degree. I mean, of course, dealing with personalities, we get the calls every day, and we're dealing with the lawyers on how to handle certain situations. But again, I think with any client, whether it's whether they're a personality or a brand, the first thing you want to do is really look at the incident and really dissect it and understand really what occurred and what happened before putting anything out there. Sometimes I think we rush to make a statement or negate something, but you just want to make sure that you have all your information and make sure that you're talking to your team, talking to your legal team, and because you want to make sure that whatever information you're putting out there makes sense and will also shed some kind of light on what has happened, and also be able to start rebuilding the damage that has been done. Right.
So when Starbucks did their, everybody knows Starbucks, arrested the 2 black men.
Exactly.
Did they get it right by, coming back and saying, hey, we're going to do a day of racial sensitivity training? Is that a step in the right direction? I mean,
for me personally, I think just being a black man, I have a real issue with that because I think that what's going on in this country right now, people don't really understand the sensitivity of waking up and walking out your door as a black man or woman and having to always think about how you look and how you're perceived, and I'm on my way to the gym, but it's 6 o'clock in the morning, the sun isn't up, let me not wear a hoodie because I actually might it's like those are real things, and I think that people are not trying to understand what is happening, and I think Starbucks, they need to really look at their employee. They need to look at the culture of the company, and start there and bring in some people to help them understand that the world is global.
And they're global. I mean, with 8,000 locations, that's more than a notion.
They're physically global, but are you global in thinking? Because if you were, those 2 men sitting there waiting for their friend shouldn't be an incident.
True.
And we're just seeing too many situations like that where a black child is playing in the park by himself and pretending to, play, cops and robbers, but by himself. And someone reports that a black man is in the park with a gun, and then they roll up on him and shoot the kid. It's those things are serious.
So talking about image and talking about brand building, which you do a lot of, how do you start? Where do you start with an artist or company?
Well, with a individual, it usually starts with talking to them and really trying to hone in on where they see themselves and where they want to take their career and what they want the image, what they want their public persona to look like. And usually from there, that's where we go. And it doesn't only entail like the styling and the physical aspects, but really, when I say image, it's really more about what do you want the public to take from you.
Okay.
You know, what do they, when they hear your name, see your face, what do you want them to walk away feeling and knowing about you as a brand?
Right.
You know?
What wonderful things are you working on now?
We just wrapped 3 great projects with Netflix. The movie Roxanne.
Oh, wow.
Which was such an amazing project to work with Pharrell and his team, and a good friend of mine, Mimi Valdez, who I went to school with, NYU.
Is she with Pharrell? Is she with Pharrell?
So Mimi is a producer and has done all the film stuff. Right.
And Karen is his manager. Okay.
And so that was such a great project to work on. And then we did 2 other documentaries with Netflix. Rapture, which was about they documented the lives of 8 rappers from different areas of the country, but more their lives off stage. Like T.I. and all the work that he's doing in his community. And Nas, you know, some greats. And then the third documentary was a film called Flint Town. And it really documented the relationship between the police force and the community.
How did that relationship come about with Netflix?
Again, I think just word of mouth on the company, and they called and asked if we would be interested in working with them. So it was good. It's when I get calls like that, it's always a good feeling, because for me, it's just always about the work. Like, I always hope that the work stands out and that people respect what we do, they see the value in it, and
Who's out there that you see and you say, you know what, I really would love to work with them, but they don't know they need you?
Well, there's a few people, but I won't say. But there are. I mean, I do have. But what's funny about that? There've been a few times where I've said, "Wow, I would love to work with this person," and somehow, the universe just works in its own mysterious way. That it either comes to fruition, or I at least had that opportunity to have a meeting with them, see if this would work. It's really, it's just interesting how life is and the direction that it takes takes us in, and when you just have faith and you put good energy out there, how it comes back to you.
So you said, you mentioned that, the media and PR is shrinking. How do you stay above the fray and be sought after and, do the wonderful things that you're doing?
Well, I think really not being afraid to embrace change, and learning to open up yourself to doing other things along with what you may have been traditionally trained in, and I think that's the world that we're living in and working in now. I think there's so many of us that are adding other things to our plate. I mean, you're doing it. So it's like, I think that's the biggest thing, and I think folks know that the Chamber Group, we have great relationships in fashion. We have relationships in the art world. It's for me, the agency really does represent those things that move and drive me in my personal life.
Because it's lifestyle, branding, and that's things that you're passionate about. Do you think that, because lifestyle branding is really important, it's all about that, people aspire to be and live their best life and love the way you live. But do you ever feel as though sometime you might do you feel as though in New York, you could only do this here? Because of what the industries that are so diverse here, like you said, fashion, media, entertainment, or do you feel as though you could do this in Raleigh, if you lived in Raleigh, North Carolina?
I think that you can shape your brand to a degree in Raleigh or Virginia Beach or wherever. I think just a matter of how far you want to take it. You may have to, move to LA or New York or London to really take it to another level. Okay. But I do think that those young people that are like, you know what, I want to do that someday, or I want to build myself into that. I think that you can do the work from wherever, and start there.
Okay. But New York gives you the access to all of these brands.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. What advice would you give someone young trying to get into the PR, publicist, marketing world?
Interning.
Okay.
Interning. I interned, and if it wasn't for a great internship, I don't even know if I would be where I'm at today. And it's something that I really focus on within the company. We've had so many great, talented, smart kids come through our doors, and at the end of the internship, we always interview them, like, tell us, like, what was the experience like? What didn't you like? What do you think we could have done better? And it makes me so happy to hear them say that the experience at the Chamber Group was one of the most learning experiences that they've encountered during their years in school.
Okay.
Because to me, that's really important.
Okay.
I want, for me, when a young person comes through the Chamber Group, I want them to walk away with more knowledge in PR and a greater understanding of it. Because I think really having those experiences will also help you to decide if it's something that is really for you or not.
Okay.
And also too, I was fortunate to have people believe in me when I was that age, and I do feel it's part of my duty now to encourage and help uplift these young people for them to see that they can really do anything, because the world is hard. Yeah. And as much as we, look at TV and the reality shows and the, as you said, the lifestyle and all of that, it's a harsh world out there, and I feel like a lot of young people just are not prepared for the real world as we know it. Right. And I just hope that myself, along with my team, when we have the opportunity to give guidance, that we do. Okay, all right. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to fire a client? Oh yeah, that happens a lot. that happens a lot at the Chamber Group. Okay. And you know what? I don't relish in it. I think for me, I just look at it as a relationship that didn't fit. Right. That's it. I don't really harp on, the person being whatever whatever the situation is. It just wasn't a good fit. Right. And there, for the most part, I usually can tell, and I may not even take on that business, but sometimes things slip through the cracks, and I do, and then I realize that my gut instinct was right, and that it wasn't a good fit. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, how do you love the way you live? I do love the way I live, because you know what? I realize I'm blessed. Waking up every day and breathing and seeing and just knowing that I woke up is the blessing. Okay. And I don't take it for granted. It's hard work. I think people think that it's easier than what it is, and I think that they probably think that I'm living this like grand.
life.
Yeah, no, it's really not. I live in downtown Brooklyn. I love my home.
Right.
I love my family. You know, I think my family has been a really big part of my success because I think they're so grounded and so real and have been so encouraging that without them, it wouldn't have happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, I want to thank Chris Chambers for being my guest today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. You guys can learn more about Chris on lovethewayyouliveny.com. And I will have all of Chris's information on Twitter, my Twitter page, Instagram, and Facebook. And until next time, I want you to celebrate life and continue to love the way you live.